Качество связи хорошее. Ужасное, но да, это... Да. Ладно, чё? Что показывает? РТМП это показывает? Ладно, без всех каналов. Чего? Ну тогда да. Черт. Слабый ты, все. Не надо злого просто. Ладно. Поели и хватит нам зайцев. Желтыш. Ну да.
Хотите, чтобы задачи делались качественно и в срок?
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Piano TV. Today we're going to be talking about which books are best for beginners or for somebody who's been playing piano for a year with, or like up to a year, with some amount of regularity. Because it can be hard to tell, especially if you don't want to play like little kid songs all day long. This video kind of goes in conjunction with the last Q&A, which was how to find level appropriate repertoire or music. So if you haven't already seen that, you might want to just for more information, and I will link it below. So first off, it's always a good idea to use a good, solid method book that's geared towards adults. The two that I've used the most would be the Alfred's Adult Method Book, as well as the Piano Adventures Adult Method Book, and I actually like this one better, even though I've used this one for many, many years. The Piano Adventures one, I just find that the songs are really good. It goes through a really well-organized pace. There's duet parts, so if you have a friend who plays piano or you take lessons with a teacher, you can play these really nice songs with these creative duets, and that's pretty fun. The biggest reason I would say to use a method book is it kind of takes you through every learning step so that you don't have holes in your knowledge when you're learning how to play piano. It takes you like right from square one. So if you're a complete beginner, you can have a lot of success with this. Once you have a good grasp on note reading, and you can read all over the staff pretty comfortably, and you know, 8th notes and 16th notes. So basically, when you've been playing for about 3 to 6 months, good books to get into are the Royal Conservatory Preparatory level books. Now, this is kind of the gateway to grade 1, essentially. So all this material is designed to help get you ready for the grade level. This is like music kindergarten, basically. But don't be fooled by the cutesy names. Like some of these songs, one's called Playful Puppy, one's called Starfish at Night, but they're actually pretty hard pieces, even though they do sound cute. So these are pretty difficult for a complete beginner, but if you've been playing for a few months, this would be right up your alley. Now, this book may not be the most appealing, exciting book in the world by Carl Czerny, but this is the kind of book that's going to make you a good piano player. It's going to develop your technique. Just for a bit of background information, Carl Czerny was a student of Beethoven's, and he wasn't like a great master composer or anything, but he was a really good teacher, and he wrote tons of books like designed just for students to develop their technique. And these songs sound good, they sound nice, and it follows a logical progression, so it's actually a pretty good book to start out with if you're just learning how to read notes. I would say that like only about a third of this book is at a beginner level because it gets pretty hard, pretty fast. But this is a good, you can think of this as like a method book if it were 200 years ago. I find it really, really, really useful, and I teach from it a lot. Dmitri Kabalensky is one of those rare composers like Czerny, who we just talked about, who wrote music from a beginner level all the way through to an advanced, difficult. Composers usually just write like beginner level pieces, or they write really difficult pieces like most classical composers, you know. There's not a lot who do it all, but this guy does it all, and this is called 24 Pieces for Children, Opus 39, but don't be put off by the title. It's not like it's just for kids. These are really good songs, and for the most part, like a kid wouldn't be playing these songs for a year or two anyway, because they're not right at a beginner level. You probably want to have a few months of playing piano before you even attempted these. But it's a really good collection. It actually spans a really wide range of levels, so the easiest pieces would be preparatory level, but some of the pieces get as difficult as grade 5 and grade 6. So you won't get a ton of use out of this right off the bat, but it will grow with you, and it is a book that you can continually return to instead of just using it for a few months and then forgetting about it forever. I think it makes a really nice addition to any piano music collection, so that's a good one. Aside from the books I just talked about, which I would say are like my favorite ones and what I would consider the core that I use for beginner students, there's a lot of contemporary collections that are really, really good. So just an example would be something like this, William Gillick's Accents on Solos series. They have some good tunes. If you're looking for more contemporary music or songs that you might have heard of, the Alfred series does a whole collection labeled by level of different pop songs. Like this one has My Heart Will Go On and, you know, songs like that, right? Faber and Faber have some of my favorite contemporary collections, and they have it in all types of genres. So if you like Broadway, if you like jazz and blues, classical arrangements, they have tons of books that look like this that are like really short, really affordable, with beginner level pieces that you'll be able to play instead of struggling. Now, I will say that a lot of books that say easy piano on them, it can be a little bit misleading. Now, this book is easier than a standard level, like a standard pop book, like just a regular pop book, but it's not beginner level, it's easier. But I would say like a lot of these songs are out of the scope of someone who's only been playing for a year or less. So just be careful with the ones labeled easy piano, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. It's just easier than the other books that exist. One thing I talked about in the previous Q&A that I just want to restate for extra emphasis is that you can refer to the RCM or the ABRSM syllabus to get ideas for songs or collections of songs at the right level for you. And you can also use Sheet Music Plus's level, like search by level function to achieve the same thing. And basically anything primer leveled, anything preparatory leveled should be fair game by using these search functions. It should be well within the range of someone who's only been playing piano for a year or less. And you'll probably notice at some point that a lot of books at a preparatory level are sort of geared towards kids, but that's okay, because there's lots of really great music that kids and adults can enjoy, like, you know, The Circle of Life, or Somewhere Over the Rainbow, or, you know, tunes like that that everyone likes and are fun to learn. So don't be afraid of some of the child theme music. Like, it's all good. And the longer that you play piano, the more music options you'll have available to you, because there's just a larger body of repertoire options when you're at an intermediate to an advanced level. So the more you play, the more choices you'll have. You do have more limited choices as a beginner, but there's still lots of great music that you can find. And what I've shown you are just the ones that I tend to go to again and again. And if you want other song options, you know, keep learning the music that I provide on this channel as well. And that should be good. That'll be good. Good times, good times. All right, so thank you for watching this video, and feel free to ask more questions in the comments, or if you want to send me a message via my website, pianotv.net, you can do that too. And I hope you have a fabulous day.
Welcome everyone, my name is Adam Manis. Today we're doing a guided practice session on 3 levels of triad pairs. This is going to be a classic guided practice session where we work with a metronome. I'll be playing some bass lines for you, and you will be working. So get to your instrument. This is for all instruments. We do have some piano voicings there for you for our pianist. So this guided practice session has a PDF. I encourage you to download that if you want to follow along. But I will have the notation up on screen for us as we go. And as always, everything we do around here is brought to you by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com. You can check out all our courses, including my new Triad Pairs Bootcamp course, which deals with exactly what we're going to be working on today. Speaking of work, let's get to work. So we're doing 3 levels. We're starting very basic with a lot of space with some triad pairs, and we're going to get more and more complicated, more and more crazy, really. I mean, it's going to get weird. Just be prepared for that, but in a good way, in a good way. So the first question is, what are triad pairs? Well, triad pairs are kind of a modern device. I think of McCoy Tyner and Chick Corea and Michael Brecker and some very modern players that use this sort of architecture, right, this framework around chord changes to make some really interesting shapes, really interesting melodic lines that give us this really cool sense of structure, but being able to take it inside and outside of changes. And we can start very basic, right? So it doesn't really matter what the triads you use are in the end. There are some really common ones that sound good over certain kind of chords, and so that's where I'm going to kind of steer you here at first. We'll use some very, like, you know, the go-tos for each chord here to start. And we're going to start out with giving ourselves lots of space, and then we're going to kind of close in on that space as we go. So here, level 1, we have a lot of space, actually. We're doing a 2-5-1 in the key of C. We're going to do that all throughout this guided practice session. So get ready for that. That way we can take it to other keys later. So we have our 2 chord, our D minor 7, right? Just a Dorian sound, basic Bob Dorian D minor 7. Now we're going to use 2 triad pairs that I think sound great over this, F major and G major. Right? That F major, you got the 3rd, you got the 5, you got the 7 of D minor. The G major, you got the 11, you got the 13, you have the root, you have some really pretty notes and some really solid foundational notes. That's what using triad pairs does. Now we'll get into how to use them in just a second, but we're just picking our pairs by 5, you got the 7 of D minor, the G major, you got the 11, you got the 13, you have the root, you have some really pretty notes and some really solid foundational notes. That's what using triad pairs does. Now we'll get into how to use them in just a second, but we're just picking our pairs here at first. So then on the G7, we're going to use the same ones, right? Like I said, we're going to give ourselves lots of space. So we're going to be using these same 2 triads to get all of our melodic content over these first 2 chords of the 2-5-1. Then we go to the C major 7, and we're going to use the 5 and the 6, right? The G major and the A minor. Again, some really strong note choices here, all set up in that beautiful structure of a triad. So with the G major, you've got the 5, you've got the 7, you've got the 9 of C. With that A minor, you've got the 13, the root, and the 3rd. And then we're going to use those same 2 triad pairs for the 6th chord. Right, a little turnaround chord here, our A minor, the G major, and the A minor. Isn't that great? The reason why triad pairs work so well, like to set up a framework for our improvisation, for our melodic lines, especially for this specific kind of sound, is that because our ear just naturally likes the shape. And these triads have been around in music now, they've been around our whole lives, but for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so we're just really accustomed to even things that sound dissonant. If they're in the form of a triad, our ear is like, oh yeah, I know that. So how do we use it? We could, just do this, right? But that's going to be kind of boring. So how do we use these triads in our improvisation in a real way, in a practical way? So check this out. I've got some little etudes. We're going to start with etudes, and then I'm going to free you up to just improvise using these triads here. And again, you can see F major, G major, and then F major, G major. I've got some left-hand voicings for a pianist there. And then on the C major 7, we've got A minor, G minor, A minor, G minor. So we can break these up into different versions of the triad. And then in different shapes. We'll start here with level 1, very, very basic. So listen to that. That's just some really basic triad pairs where we can sort of move our hand in these cool directions and get this great sound. That's the other thing is, like, especially for pianists, I think, these are so natural feeling in our hands. They lay really, really well in our hands. So let's try playing this etude, and then I'm going to let you off the leash to do whatever you want here with these triad pairs on this change. But let's start with as written here, or at least as close to as we can get. So I've got my click set to beats 2 and 4, like it's the hi-hat. And let's just play through it as written here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, again, 1, 2, 3, and let's loop it. Just keep it going. Last time, last time. So what's great about these etudes is you get to hear how they might sound, you know, planned out. It's a little contrived, right? I mean, it literally is contrived. We're writing it out, which is not the worst idea, actually. I think it was in Herbie Hancock's autobiography where he was talking about how he was struggling to play fast, and someone recommended that he write out a solo for a fast tempo on rhythm changes, or it might have been Cherokee, one of the two. But anyway, as a way to just kind of feel it in your hands first before you can improvise. So that's kind of what these etudes do, at least for me. I love doing those. So let's try it, though. I want you to just explore now using these triad pairs. I have them labeled there, and you can use them however you want. Try different shapes, different inversions. Just change the triad pair when the chord changes. And you can use my voicings here if you're a pianist to help get the sound. I'll play some bass. 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Repeat. Really explore here. See what you can get out of these triad pairs. If some of them don't sound right, that's okay. That's good, actually. Some of them shouldn't sound right. That's part of the exploration process. Last time, you got it. Isn't that awesome? So much fun. It gives us a little bit of structure there in our melodic phrases. We kind of get that more modern sound, right? It kind of takes us out of like bebop and closures and all that. It's a little bit more angular, a little bit more impressionistic. Okay. Let's go to level 2. Now level 2 is where a lot of y'all are going to want to hang out, because level 2 sounds good. Level 2 sounds really, really good. So level 2 here on our D minor, on our 2 chord, we've got C major and D minor, right? So we've got these great, pretty notes here on the D minor, right? A Dorian sound. C major, the 7, the 9, the 11. And then D minor, which is just the root 3/5, right? So like again, you'll notice some of the triad pairs, there's grounding, and then there's pretty notes. They can be whatever you want, as long as it fits within the scale or the chord that you're using. I think anything's fair game. Our next chord, G7 alt, based off the altered scale, right? That 7th degree of A flat melodic minor ascending. G, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F, and G. 2 very common triads that you hear players use over this altered chord are the flat 5, flat 6, D flat, and E flat over our G7. Now for our C major 7, we're going to do a little bit of alteration here. We're going to do a sharp 11, so that Lydian sound. We're going to use a D major and an E minor. Beautiful sound. It kind of takes you on this like roller coaster. Then we're going to do, for sharp 6 chord instead of A minor, we're going to do A7 alt. And again, we're going to use the same formula we used on the G7 alt, flat 5, flat 6. Interesting fingering things are going to happen there, I'm noticing. Okay, what does this look like? It looks pretty darn good, actually. So we have our D minor going up to our C major on the D minor 7. Then we have our altered, right, which is the D flat major, E flat major, that flat 5 to flat 6 major. You do some really hip stuff there. Then our C major 7 sharp 11, that Lydian sound, B major. And then our A7 alt, again, flat 6, flat 5, flat 5, flat 6, whatever. Doesn't matter the order, it doesn't matter the inversion, like, it's all about exploring this and seeing what happens. So this sounds really good. Hey. Again. See what I'm saying? That's that sound, right? That's that really slick, like, angular modern sound. Let's try it. Let's try playing this etude as written. Check out those chordal voicings I have there for the pianist to the left hand. Let's play it as written here at first, and then we'll start doing stuff to it. Here we go.
Что ты умный уже.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and.
Ну нет.
Again? 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 You got it. Still as written, just play it. Getting these shapes in our hand. One more time, one more time. Isn't that hip? Isn't that super hip? Okay, let's try it. I'm not even going to stop the metronome. Let's keep it going. I want you to explore now using these triad pairs. You can use them in different combinations, different orders, different inversions, different shapes. Really see what feels good on your instrument, in your hand right now. Just, yeah, explore the space, as they say. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and.
Наоборот, значит, я играю просто. Наоборот, это он себе так думает, просто.
Have fun. Have fun. Last time. Isn't that crunchy, it's crispy, right?
Не сохраняется ничего. Работу ищи, работу. Все. Сейчас чуть развернул пальчик. Пальчик. так, да? Вы тоже себе позволяете всякие, да, понял он тебя просто, да, вот и все, я не самый плохой человек, да.